Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Thursday, December 19th, 2013. Today I am starting with some good news. From Breitbart, Geek oil scientists manufacture biofuel from algae in minutes. So again, I've mentioned different forms of alternative energy and knowing that they have been stifled by big oil. And here is even an example of a synthesized oil that is not too difficult to make. So even if we wanted to stay with biofuels, we could do it. Of course, it's better to move away from them. But the point is, the monopoly that controls pretty much the world through dominating energy markets can so easily be put out of business because there are many, many alternatives to the products that they are offering. Just a little Bitcoin information here from RT. FBI is global stakeholder in cryptocurrency, currently owns largest Bitcoin wallet. In the first paragraph here, when the FBI shut down the Silk Road and Internet black market in October, it also seized the accused owner's assets and inadvertently became one of the wealthiest Bitcoin operators in the world. So there it is. It's just a reality, and I wouldn't assume that they are going to use their Bitcoin to destroy the market or anything of that nature. And here from Infowars.com, government using NSA to change amount in bank accounts, warns panel. Now that, I would say, is a concern. And the first paragraph here, a White House review panel report into the activities of the NSA suggested that the government was using the spy agency to launch cyber attacks against financial institutions and change the amounts held in bank accounts. Check your statements. And from Max Kaiser, workplace loans turn Americans into slaves. Indeed, that makes a lot of sense, and Max helps us to be aware of some of the financial landmines. From the blog Real Currencies, Ed Griffin admits the bankers own all the gold and that usury is the issue. So financially, usury is the issue, and pertaining to government, rule of law is the issue. So those two things, the breach of rule of law, and actually there have been historically usury laws. It's only been rather recently that banks have been able to charge exorbitant interest rates. So if we can grasp those two ideas, that can help us be set on the path to restoration of a means of living that we'll all be able to thrive and prosper. And here from Boing Boing, secretive TPP treaty could kill creators' right to get copyrights back from studios, labels, and publishers. And, I bring this up because a lot of, quote, nice, end quote, people, a lot of Christians, a lot, just good people believe that it's really wrong to share files because you're hurting the artist. The artist is losing money that he or she may have made, and oh, the artist. Well, no, it's not the artist who is hurt. The artist is being hurt by the companies that are selling what they create and what they produce. And this is the TPP would be just another layer over the creator's ability to benefit from their own creation. And of course, everybody, I think, is supportive of the person who creates the work receiving benefit from it. It's the companies in between that exploit the artists and that are trying to control all media, all flow of information, and create hurdles for true artists and true creators that it's difficult for them to pass over, so that only the Illuminati affiliated and approved artists, quote artists, can really come to the forefront. And I'm thinking, Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, some of these people, and even they are severely exploited. So the whole system is evil. And again, the TPP, just another layer. Hopefully this will not go into effect, but it's time for both artists and people who appreciate their work to somehow get together and cut these guys out, cut out the middleman, right? And break the ability that they have to control what we see and hear. And kind of along those lines, here from yesterday, Alex Jones spoke for about a half hour about government media mind control. And here is the video of that portion of his show yesterday. From the New York Post, lesbian boss fired me for being straight. And, there's just this dark irony of people who have been oppressed, people who have been maybe mistreated by society. And I'm thinking of gays and lesbians. Suddenly they have the upper hand, and they are punishing the people who, the tables are turned. And now the very behavior that was abhorrent to them, when it was harming them, when it was directed at them, they are turning that same behavior on other people. So, there's just, like I said, it's a dark irony. And some of the details here: a married heterosexual gym teacher at a Tony Upper West Side private school was fired because his lesbian supervisor disapproved of his traditional family status, the canned teacher claims in a new Manhattan lawsuit. Well, that this may or may, you have to have some empathy for the guy, but who knows what all the details that went on behind the scenes, that, perhaps he dropped a ball. Don't mean to. Forgive the pun, because he's a gym teacher. But there may be some other issues here, but this is kind of a trend in our culture right now. And this backlash against heterosexuals defending the way that they live. And this, of course, has been a big story. I've kind of ignored it until now because I didn't know the details, and just, would hear Duck Dynasty. What the heck does that mean? What is Duck Dynasty? But finally, it just got through to me, and I read up on it a little bit, watched some videos. Here from The Hollywood Reporter: Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson on indefinite hiatus following anti-gay remarks. And this man did an interview and really was just honest about his belief system. He just stated that he is heterosexual and that he believes that homosexuality is a sin, and he is being released from his position. He's being put on indefinite hiatus. And here's updated. The news comes after the reality star compared being gay to bestiality, drawing ire from LGBT groups, including GLAAD and the Human Rights Campaign. So these groups are angry that he exercised his First Amendment rights and spoke about his belief system. Whether we can't only protect some kinds of speech. The First Amendment has to guarantee every form of speech and has to protect every form of speech. Now, maybe I could see possibly, if somebody makes a direct threat to someone else, that could be considered. But even that, it's only words. And yes, as Christians, we believe that words are very powerful and words can change circumstances and do things. But that all the more is why people should be allowed to exercise their free will, all of us. Exercise our free will to communicate what we feel moved to communicate. Now, if it's wrong, if it's hateful, if it's spiteful, the hearers have to be able to figure that out and filter through things. But in order to, for all of us to be able to reach conclusions, we need to hear different sides of stories. And, there's just a huge attack on the First Amendment. And here from Zero Hedge is an article, NSA official, I have some reforms for the First Amendment. Again, the First Amendment rights certainly under attack. And we got to, there are a few of the rights in the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the 10th Amendment. Some of them are very much threatened. And that's certainly something for us to be aware of and to demand that we be permitted to exercise them and that others be permitted to exercise them as well. Here from Gallup Politics, Americans' belief that government is too powerful at record levels. Record number of Republicans say the federal government has too much power. And the first paragraph here, 6 in 10 Americans believe the federal government has too much power, 1 percentage point above the previous high recorded in September 2010. At least half of Americans since 2005 have said the government has too much power. 32% now say the government has the right amount of power. Few say it has too little power. I'm not even going to consider that. That is kind of on the edge of crazy. But it's at least people seem to be realizing what is going on. And here is an article in the Washington Times from Judge Napolitano. Napolitano cutting through the lies, NSA not at liberty to collect metadata. And here's, Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment says Obama is not at liberty to collect metadata. I think that we can all agree on that one. At least all of us probably who are aware of this news video. John Rappaport's blog this morning is our good news for the day. Well, actually, this is from yesterday. Hope in the holiday season. And John Rappaport has written here about how people are beginning to wake up. But he also has written here about the amount of pressure on people to get us all to go back to sleep. And he has a story of how friends of his who work in academia have surrendered their knowledge that they've gained about what's really going on so that they can remain in their jobs. And of course, people seem to do that. And the alternative really is the Duck Dynasty guy who just speaks out and then is fired. So this is a very real threat that people are expressing their political views and losing their jobs. So as John Rappaport has written about that, he does reach the conclusion, I'm slowly scrolling here, he does reach the conclusion eventually that even though there is this tremendous pressure to conform and this tremendous pressure to fall back asleep, people are not falling back asleep. People are insisting on bringing truth to the light. And I will conclude with this little blurb from the article. Some years ago, a painter friend sent me the following note. Its implications are universal. I used to be a house divided. I knew the work I wanted to do wouldn't become popular in the marketplace. I was torn in half. I knew how to please the powers that be, but then it occurred to me, what would happen if I catered to the dominant culture and still failed to prosper? That would be the ultimate irony. If I went my own way to the hilt and did the work I wanted to do, I would have freedom and the joy of looking at what I had produced. I wouldn't go to sleep every night wondering what the hell I was doing. I would know. And John Rappaport's final comment is, that spirit is very hard to kill. In the long run, it's impossible to destroy it. It keeps resurfacing like a dream that is more real than waking life. With that, thank you for tuning in for today's news. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty.